What up? It's your boy, Yes. And I'm back again with some Plan Explain action. Um, this time, granted, four tables of some 100. So, plenty of spots to get into. And definitely will be adding a little hand review thing to this video as well. So, on my second screen here, I got RNG, and we're all set up. Been playing for a little while now, so I got a little bit of a stack on this table, um, but hovering around 100 bigs on some other tables. Um, been a couple days since I uploaded. I was intending on getting a video out of, um, yeah, I was intending on getting a video out of some some different type of content, like maybe like a vlog or something, like a poker vlog. Uh, this is verse three. I mean, it's close. I think this is a weaker player. It might be better to play heads up pawn versus blind something. And I want to click. Do I have any notes? A short. Okay, short stack. So blind, deaf, and mute. Well, okay. These types of boards you definitely want to be careful on in theory because you're going to have a lot of Broadway cards that do not connect well. Um, this type of hand, I'm happy to just put into the check. I'm sure some of you may simplify to range betting versus fish, but it's a really easy strategy to combat on these types of boards. And then versus B75, we will. Also, I think on those boards you don't really gain as much fold equity. Like you don't have much fold equity versus like lower pairs. And like I'm not sure exactly if you should have a ton of fold equity versus that region of hands, but my experience is that the imposition player, at least in these three bet configurations, is quite. Sounds like my dog is barking at something. Up, up. Uh, here, we're gonna open this, and then here, multi-way. Do I want to check this? I got some weaker players here. Yeah, they're probably gonna reopen. They're probably gonna open the action quite often with like uh, if they have something worth calling. But it is the nice part about betting is like hold here. The nice part about betting is you're gonna get calls from the region of hands that is always gonna check back. So like the lower pocket pairs. Here I'm gonna start putting money in myself. And I'll just use like I think pot size generates too much folds. So I'll use this three quarters. And when they snap call here, I think it is a lot of flushes actually because this type of like this type of board doesn't really invite a lot of like stabs with draws. And of course I'm all in here with a full house. Um, so not too worried about it. I think a hand like Queen Jack considers check raising the turn a bit. And then, it's mainly, I would guess at least mainly hearts. If he folded a flush there, props to him. But I don't think that's what's happening. Maybe something else other than what I sort of put him on. Anyway, yeah, I was yapping about something. Okay, we're gonna flat here, and then we'll check here. Yeah, I wanted to put out some different content, but I don't have any time right now. That's basically all I wanted to say. This is regular. This is not regular. weaker player. Pocket fours basically mix, and here I'll fold. Here I'll flat, and then versus pot versus like a pot size lead. Yeah, no time really to do much. Do I want to start fast playing now or like putting money in? I think it's close. In the call line, he's very likely to. I think raising actually wins more versus like his top pair hands because I'm always going to win a stack versus like ace king. Am I? I don't know. Yeah, this is pretty much his top pair, right? The reason I didn't raise, I thought I might have a little bit too much full equity in the raise jam line. And then here it's like my hand's not even worth a shove anymore. Okay, he had pocket sevens. Wow. So we saved a lot of money by accident. So that's uh that's good. That's good. But did I think I had the best hand? Yes. Do I need to take a note on like, this guy's line with set of sevens there? Definitely. I'm gonna fold this. Here I'm gonna raise. Oh, that was for sure an interesting one. Let's raise check here. Yeah, this guy's is gonna this is a board that's gonna get attacked quite often. And I don't think there's any slowing down. So I'm definitely happy to uh, check and let my opponent blast into me. Then here I'll snap call as if I'm never folding. The 10-9. So they river showdown value, which is a bit annoying, but it's fine. I think having a range check there and then like just putting all like so much traps into the check call line is good actually. Because a lot of the time they're gonna be like, uh, yeah, a lot of the time they're going to be blasting into you. Because like none of their bluffs want to like slow down pretty much. It's hard for people to shut down the bluffs on those types of boards. In spots where it's like, they have the clear range advantage. I'm wondering about this ace-6 hand here. Um, how clear cut the river bet is or the river call is. I might be a bit of a spewing maniac actually for like never considering folding there. Versus a short stack. Okay, we'll use this size. True chiller. Cool. So we'll definitely look into the ace-6 hand. Um, at least just from like a cutoff versus button perspective. Hold. I'm gonna squeeze this versus some weaker players. This is a large squeeze, but I think it wins a lot of money, mainly because I don't get four bet very often, um, and generates more folds. So, so like the downside of using a size like that is your opponent's going to four bet you, and you're going to have lost 13 and a half big blinds. If you're not getting four bet, you don't really need to be so worried about that. 977. I think starting with a bet here is good with this type of hand. snap call, and then we turn a 10. So it's really a matter of like whether I have a 3 street hand or a 2 street hand. Some of his draws get in, like some draws come in, and then like board has a lot more connectivity. I think betting now it makes a bit more sense with this type of hand than delaying to the river. Um, we get the 9 of clubs river, so yes, clear check back, right? Yeah, we beat king jack, so interesting snap call on the flop. I'm not taking notes on these players right now just because I don't think it's all that great to do that on during these play explains, but you know, off camera, that's probably the best, most prudent thing to do. And then here, was considering raising. This guy's like extremely crazy from what I've seen. Hmm. I'm gonna raise this here. Check. Fold. This is obviously very loose, but this is a weaker player. 7-4-3. I don't think you need to check back all that often in this configuration, but I don't want to start shoveling in money with this hand. Then with the king, check this back, make flush. You're likely going to check fold. Um, so I'm gonna use a half pot size here. I think maybe 3/4 makes a bit more sense for what I'm trying to do. One, I was a little worried that the fold equity that you have in 3/4 is a little bit higher than if you use half pot. Like you're not pressuring the small pair region as much, or like that's basically what you're targeting there, because there's no like offsuit ace X that has like the ace of hearts, really. It's like all small pairs with the heart. Here, okay, so he flats. So flatting might actually become a bit more enticing, but it really depends. Yeah, we're gonna flat pocket threes here. Do I think this is like the best ever? No, but that's what we're gonna do. Mainly because getting a better price. This guy's flatting the hijack, so weaker player, and then here, like, we don't need to worry about the blind squeezing as much. Um, Stab half pot seems a little bit interesting to me. Let me go ahead and fold because I'm not sure. It's a little bit loose to continue, but um, the sizing doesn't make a ton of sense. Like, unless they're wanting to have a size that's built around like pocket nines or something, it doesn't make much sense to me. Queen Jack to go to the bet or the check, I think versus this player, betting makes a bit more sense. When you put this into the check, it assumes that they're going to be like playing well in the turn and putting some pressure on you, but that's unlikely. We got, what is this, 15 minutes? Okay. Yeah, we'll keep this nice and short. And then I'll do a little hand review of the ace six of hearts hand. And I'll treat it just like a cutoff versus button single raise pot. And yeah, I think I have like one other hand that I wanted to look at also that I played off the video pretty much. Uh, so maybe we look at that as well. Or like I could even show you the replay of that. slightly too many notes there to be reading through them. Anyway, I hope anyone watching this video, this is for you. I hope you're having a good holiday season, spending time with your family or your friends or whoever is important to you. And yeah, it's Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas, and Happy Hanukkah if you celebrate that, or you know, Happy Holidays, if you celebrate something else. Um, it's a pretty busy time of the year. It can be pretty stressful. I know that I've definitely not been in the mood for poker all that often. Like, definitely not as frequent as a couple months ago or a couple weeks ago, even. Um, so, yeah, it didn't really play much at all this week. Um, but glad I can get on here and make a little play and explain before I you know get a little too wrapped up in the holidays. So this is a misclick. Um, I'm gonna be up in my hometown for a couple days, maybe a week or so. Donkley is interesting. I think I'm gonna call so I could spike a 4. No, I was gonna call because this range seems like kind of odd. Do I check back? I mean, I don't know how much like of the ace X region they have that just snap donks half pot. But here I'm gonna use maybe like 3/4 size. I think 3/4 size always generates calls from pocket pair region. Flush draws as well, of course. But the main region that I'm targeting is like pocket fives, sevens, eights, threes, deuces, stuff like that. So we'll see. This is a crazy one. Yeah, what's he saying? Do I block like the one combo of like 6/4? No, but I'm not folding my hand. Not right now. The question is really like we're so deep. Um, he snap checks. That's crazy. I think I'm gonna go all in case he ever has a 6. Just because I don't think that like traps will snap check the river really. Um, and then the other region is folding to any bet because it's just give ups. So my perception that the way that spot works there is like they have a 6. They've put it into some weird line on the turn, and then the river, they're not sure what to do with their hand because it's like 6/3 or something like that, or like 7/6 offsuit. Um, play that. Okay. All right. So I figured we could go over one hand at least, and this will be the one. So um, dealt pocket fours here. Um, open to 2.5. This is a mistake. Like, not literally, but I didn't mean to open to this size. But it actually works out quite nicely because the only person to call was the big blind, who is incredibly deep with me. So ace 6/6, two tone, and my opponent donks for half pot. Um, so this donk is interesting. Like it's when you're donking at the stack depth, it's like you're not really supposed to be very merged. Like it's more of like okay, built around a six, and then maybe some top pair, and then some like air that is gonna fold. That's at least my interpretation. Here, I think in practice it's probably a little bit too merged, like some pocket sevens, pocket eights, pocket fives, stuff like that, pocket fours, threes. Um, so and then some flush draws as well, right? So those hands also making it to this range. Um, I don't know how great pocket fours is doing, but I'm happy to call mainly just to like uh I the reason I call here, right, is I'm beating a portion of his range that's like some sort of draw. Um, and I also have like a lot of fold equity versus that merged portion of his range, which is like pocket fives, pocket sevens, stuff like that. So I'm depending on the run out and depending on the line my opponent takes, I think more often than not they're going to tell me like pretty much exactly what they have, and it's going to be like if it's that type of hand, then I have like infinite fold equity on a ton of runouts. So um, I think calling is good. I think folding would be kind of a mistake. So we drill the turn, and my opponent checks, and I set to bet three quarters here. So there's an argument to go much larger than this. Um, but I think once they've donked and then they have checked the turn, um, that like their range is pretty weak. It's like full. It's basically traps and then smaller pairs because they have that range portion that we sort of assumed from the flop, and then give ups like diamond hands, like king, jack, diamonds, stuff like that. Maybe some flush draws that they don't want to continue barreling with, or just some random air. Um, I think that I'm still strategically I'm still trying to come up with like some way to target the merge portion that I think exists in their range. So using this size uh, does exactly that. But you could use a smaller size, just pressure the air, or you could use a much larger size and try and in value versus like their 6x region um, and stuff like that. Like you could use like a huge bet. I don't know. I think this bet is appropriate for my perception of my opponent's range. And we get check raised here, which is interesting. Um, so when they check raise, well, obviously now they're telling me, okay, I have a trap. I've trapped you on the turn, or I have like some extremely strong draw. So, but like here, I have a six. I have like, yeah, basically a six plus. Um, but unfortunately for them, I have a full house. So unlucky. But yeah, that's basically what their range is condensed down to now is like a six or better. And the better hands here are like a6. I guess they depends how loose this player is. They may have a6 offsuit. I'm not exactly sure. I've seen some crazy stuff. 6-4 suited. There's one combo, and then quads. So one combo of quads as well. So we decide to continue with a call, and we get the ten of spades river, and my opponent checks pretty quickly there. So this has like accurate time banked, time bank whatever replay. So they check pretty quick on the ten of spades, which is interesting. So it's their range now to me after they've check raised the turn is no longer merged, right? It's like hands like 5-3 of clubs or like some extremely strong draw that they thought that they thought was worth check raising the turn with, or a six or a full house. And once they've snap checked the turn, I think it filters out a lot of the full houses. Um, and basically my hand is the nuts versus this range. So going all in can never really be that bad. It's just a matter of like how often I get called when I go all in. Um, and like how often, so basically how often they call with like a six that doesn't really know what to do. Um, and I think probably a good bit. So I decided to go all in for around 250% pot. And yeah, we'll have to check out this line, even though I'm not exactly sure what the theory is in this line at all. But I've pulled it up here, and we can just go through it. So I've just selected all the like the bet sizing and stuff. We can go through and take a look at what the strategy is. So here there is some donking, which is surprising to me at 200 big blinds. Uh, usually at these deeper stack depths, out of position is less inclined to put money in themselves and more inclined to like protect their checking range. But they do split a little bit here. There's like a really low frequency donk, so this works out nicely. Obviously, I didn't know this in game, but you have to make assumptions about how your opponent would be constructing a strategy like this. And they've filtered pretty much everything in, like a little bit of everything into the donk, but like a large portion of the value region is like top pair, and then trips. So once they donk, this is our strategy in response. So we actually don't do a lot of raising. I'm not exactly sure why we would avoid raising this much, but we go take a look at the ranges and see. It looks like, yeah, the big blind. This is sort of the cutoff point here for their donking ranges. Like they have this crap here and draws, um, and maybe some like lower pairs, but a, a large portion of their range is like top pair plus now, and this is sort of that range. So it's like you have all your top pair, and then up here you have your trips, and then you have your full houses. So their range is extremely strong. It looks like, and somewhat polarized. So maybe it doesn't make a ton of sense to raise versus that strategy. Anyway, we decide to call with fours, which I think is a straightforward call, regardless. And then we get the four turn. Um, Here they're polarizing because on the flop they said, okay, I have a six, or I have some air, or I have top pair. The top pair is now like mainly going into the check, but the six X definitely wants to blast, and then their air is wanting to check. Right. So we're met with a check from out of position, and their checking range. We'll just compare the ranges here. So once they check, I mean, see what happens. So most of the range is just garbage. So it's a lot of like single club hands now that are auto folds. Some diamonds, like some diamond combos, stuff like that. Uh, just weaker stuff, and then up here is like the pocket pair region. So some of these hands I don't really even think they have from pre-flop. Like I think they're filtered out because they might three bet. So hands like pocket jacks, stuff like that. Pocket tens might three bet quite a bit. Um, and then they have their top pair. I think, as I explained before, this top pair region is not as prevalent as I was like, at least in game. I didn't think it was as prevalent. So I don't think it's like going to make up such a large percentage of their range as it is here. Anyway, we can mix all sizes in this strategy for those reasons. Like they're pretty much dominated throughout the entirety of their range once they've checked. So we decide to target like the middling portion, like this pocket pair region with a B75. You could even go smaller. And yeah, like this is generating indifference in pocket sevens, pocket eights, pocket nines. The lower pairs are pure folds, but I don't know if that's necessarily the case in game. Anyway, not to, we keep going here, but I don't think anyone is super interested in this type of stuff. But we get check raised here again, so that's we'll take a look at what that range looks like, and it's going to be strong. It's going to be strong draws. So they have some 7-5, but then they have clubs. They have combo draws. So they have pocket sevens, which is very interesting. Some 4x, but then it's all trips and full houses. So very few combos in this range at this point because we've filtered down so much by the turn. But fours is still ahead of a lot of those hands, winning a lot of money as a call. And yeah, so we get the 10 of spades river, and they decide to check. The checking region is legitimately all give ups in this line, which is, sort of what we were anticipating in game. And once they've checked, we can go all in some portion of the time. But also, like, what's interesting here is like checking has the same EV as going all in, which has the same EV as like using any other bet size. So I don't really know like what to take away from this. I guess there's EV in every line because like I have no idea. I truly have no idea. This might be like some like solver noise type stuff because the range that the big blind gets to on the gets the river with in this line is like legitimately just nothing burger hands, 7 high, 8 high. I don't know. So I think this video is long enough. I am going to wrap it up here. Thank you for checking this out, and I hope everyone has a great Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever, and a Happy New Year. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon.